That's right. I'm a black man on the edge.
You said in the Rose Garden, the day after the attack, it was an act of terror. It was not a spontaneous demonstration. Is that what you're saying?
Please proceed, Governor.
It is in response to a video, a film. This is in response to a video.
Internet video that we had nothing to do with.
That was spontaneous? Was it a planned attack? Was there a terrorist element to it?
This is a response to a hateful and offensive video.
The video and its influence on the protests that occurred in Cairo and Benghazi in response to this video. It was the video that caused the unrest in Cairo, that precipitated some of the arrests in Benghazi. It was sparked by the reaction to this video. The video was a precipitating cause to the unrest, specifically in Libya. Might take advantage of a situation that was brought about initially as a response to the video in question.
Natural protests that arose because of the outrage over the video.
You are totally correct that they spent 2 weeks telling us this was about a tape and that there was this riot outside the Benghazi consulate, which there wasn't.
Natural protests that arose because of the outrage over the video.
I was in chronic pain, and my family struggling to make ends meet, food and gas prices going up, even keeping my job was iffy. Then I learned about a new miracle drug made in Washington, D.C., Spenditol. Spenditol is Washington's answer to all the painful problems Americans face. How to borrow $800 billion for a stimulus that didn't create jobs or fix the economy? Spenditol.
Spenditol is not for everyone. Side effects may include a mountain of government debt piled on our kids, a sudden loss of freedoms, higher prices for everything, leaving our kids a lesser America than we had. Ask your doctor or congressman if your conscience is strong enough for Spenditol.
And it's so popular in Washington, we have to import trillions more of it from China. Spenditol makes you feel better now and pushes off the really bad stuff till later, for them to deal with.
Call the White House and Congress. Tell them, stop spending it all.
Feeling lonely this holiday season? Looking for little human interaction? Do you want to feel contact in certain special places?
Then why not go through security at an airport?
The TSA.
TSA agents are ready and standing by to give you a little something extra to feel thankful about this holiday season.
TSA.
What are you waiting for? I want to check under your testicles.
Spending time with a TSA agent couldn't be easier. Simply book a flight departing from any American airport. When selected for a full body scanner, say no. You'll be pulled aside by a TSA agent, and that's when the fun begins. And you never know who your agent will be. It could be me. Or me. Or even me.
But it's probably gonna be us. Take off your damn shoes.
The TSA. It's our business to touch yours.
Welcome to the Bureau of Womanhood Conformity. Independent thoughts are considered subversive because all must agree with our leader.
When it comes to women, preventative care should include coverage of contraceptive services such as birth control.
You see, if you don't believe government should pay for your birth control, you're not a real woman. Womanhood denied. If you refuse to accept that pregnancy is a punishment, you're denied as well.
I don't want them punished with a baby.
If you don't believe that abortions should be allowed for any reason, if you don't believe in aborting a child for being the wrong gender, and if you don't believe that stay-at-home mothers aren't real workers, you are not a real conformed woman.
His wife has actually never worked a day in her life. His wife has actually never worked a day in her life.
Finally, for your safety, if you oppose mandatory government health care, you will die.
They will be voting to say that women can die on the floor.
These standards and regulations were formed after our glorious victory in the war on women. Thank you for your cooperation and your conformity.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show.
And we are back. Yes, indeed. I'm your wonderful, lovely Christian host, L. Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio. I don't, well, is anybody interested in going to see The Hobbit? It starts this Friday, I do believe. And I'm interested. I am interested to see, where I should say Peter Jackson's take on where the story begins for The Lord of the Ring. And it really begins with The Hobbit. And I'm not going to say or try to say that there's a story before. Well, he never wrote it. J.R.R. Tolkien, as far as I know, J.R.R. Tolkien didn't write a prequel to The Hobbit, did he? Not that I know of. I suppose he could have, but he obviously didn't feel it was good enough to try to publish and put out to the public. But so I'm just interested to see where Peter Jackson is going to go to start the tale, with The Hobbit. And because he's making The Hobbit into a trilogy, of course. It's a way to make more. Well, The Hobbit was no small. But I read The Hobbit as a kid. I was maybe 11 or 12. I don't think at the time I fully understood it because I was pretty young. But I read that tome. It's a huge but thick book. And I read parts of Lord of the Rings being in 3 parts. I didn't read the whole trilogy, which was really not a trilogy, but I didn't read the whole thing. However, I did listen to the unabridged version, all 3 chapters or 3 books of the book. It was hours and hours of, and you know what? I got the tapes. They were cassette. I listened to them in cassette tapes. I got the cassette tapes from the library. And a lot of people talk about they can't. Audio dramas are pretty cool, actually. I've listened to the Tribulation series. There were I think there were 2 movies, right? With wonderful. And I can't think of his name. I almost said Alex P. Keaton, but no, that's Michael J. Fox. The teen heartthrob who's now 40-something, married to Tracy Pollock. I can remember his wife's name, but I can't. No, he's not married to Tracy Pollock. Isn't that also? Yeah. Pollock is Michael J. Fox's wife. See, I don't follow Hollywood stars all that much. I get them wrong, backwards, mixed up, all that kind of stuff. What was I can't remember the show that he was on. Somebody, oh goodness gracious, not Family Ties. That was Alex Keaton. I'll remember it later. I'll recall. It'll come to the front of my brain. But yeah, the Tribulation movies. I listened to the first 3 books as audio dramatizations, and they were pretty cool. There is something to be said about the old radio days. I know most of us probably don't even know what that is, but old radio was like today's TV. You know, kids and families would gather around the radio set and listen to the dramas that were presented on the radio. And it was just your imagination. Now, the way I pictured, those trilogies, the End of the World trilogies, was nothing like the 2 movies actually ended up being. But the movies were low budget. They were. Kirk Cameron is his name. So I knew I'd remember it. Yes. Kurt. I mean, I think even my sister had a crush on Kirk Cameron when he was younger. U.S. Here's a Yahoo News story. U.S. declares Jabhat al-Nusra. That's Jabhat al-Nusra, a group in Syria with alleged Al-Qaeda links, as a terrorist body. Yes, the Obama administration is declaring a Syrian rebel group with alleged ties to Al-Qaeda as a terrorist organization. It's an effort to blunt the influence of extremists as the U.S. steps up cooperation with the Syrian opposition. Oh, so now Obama's thinking about, there could be opposition. Because is he learning his lesson from Egypt and Libya? Well, maybe not so much with Libya, but definitely with Egypt. No, Libya too, because we obviously lost 4 Americans, including an American ambassador in Libya, and the Libyan government president says, we don't have control over half our country, man. Obama, these terrorist groups are in here. We don't have control over half the country, and we can't get half control of it because we don't have a real army. And so now you've got Syria's President Assad, who's allegedly loading up toxic nerve gas into missiles and bombs to drop on his own people. But we're not. Are we labeling Assad as a terrorist now? I don't see that. I don't see us labeling Assad. Assad's got to. Well. Remember, Muammar Gaddafi had to go. Remember that? Gaddafi did try. Well, at least Gaddafi wasn't. He was not dropping chemical weapons on his own people. He wasn't even contemplating it. But, they tried to rise up against Gaddafi with the air. I guess the Arab Spring is over because now we're in the winter of discontent or something. I don't know. But maybe if Syria, they did start back then. These rebels have been going at it against Assad for months and months. So why did Obama choose to take out Muammar Gaddafi instead of why did he choose to take out Colonel Gaddafi instead of President Assad? I don't have all the answers, but I think it's curious that Obama decided to label Gaddafi as some sort of terrorist against his own people and had to go. But Assad, who